Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Advocacy Prime. It has been quite some time since I've been able to put out a nice little podcast here. Things have been pretty busy and all that, but I am super excited to catch up with my main man here, Andrew Behrman. How are we doing today, dude?
We're doing all right. How about yourself?
Doing great, brother. Just right after this, we are going to, Andrew here has got his own little podcast going on, and it is called what?
Wheeling and Dealing Sports.
Yeah.
We're going to have a little preview of what we're going to cover in the first episode is basically what we're going to cover as for the podcast as a whole, and that is Chicago sports, so Bulls, Bears, Blackhawks, Cubs, and White Sox.
Nice. And why was the White Sox last in that one there?
Mike always has to nail me for being a Cubs fan, so I'm used to it.
Absolutely. Yeah. Andrew, I'm super excited. I
am too.
I just think it's really cool that you get to explore what you want to do, and that's the beauty of podcasts, man, is that you're able to go and talk about whatever the heck you want for however long you want and with whoever you want. And I think that's a really cool advantage of doing this.
Yep. I'm sorry. I had a I think it's gonna be really cool too, and thanks to you for sort of giving me the idea of doing a podcast.
Absolutely. Yeah. So Andrew, I don't know if some of the listeners know, because now this one's on video. We did one about about what, a month back or 2 months back,
in September.
Oh, so gosh.
It was about 6 months back, folks. 6 months back.
Oh my God, where has the time gone, Andrew? Oh man. So there we are, ladies and gentlemen. Yes, we did one 6 months ago. But it feels like yesterday, and a lot's happening. It
does, really.
So let's give everybody kind of the premise of of who you are, how old you are, and just since we're now on video here, we can go ahead and give people a reminder of that. So, let's start us off here, man. Who are you?
I'm Andrew Behrman. 25 years old, out of Sandburg High School, where Mike and I actually went. He and I met in a gym class, and we just became really good friends and actually reconnected as of the first week of September last year. And so then he told me about this podcast and this Advocacy Prime deal, and then he gave me the idea of doing a podcast for myself. As I said, I'm 25. Currently, right now, I have a house that's being reconstructed. That's gonna turn into a Scylla.
What does the Scylla stand for?
Community Integrated Living Arrangement.
Nice.
And what those are is it's between four. They're basically homes for people with disabilities, and they can have up to I think it is up to 6. Yes, up to 6 participants for a Scylla, 24/7 staff. UCP Seguin, which is the non-for-profit agency that my parents have chose and that my dad has been basically a part of since I was born.
Yeah.
That's the agency that we're going through. They currently have 74 homes throughout the south and western suburbs of the city of Chicago. And this will be number 75.
Wow.
Once my house gets underway.
Well, we look at that number, though. I think we look at 74, and some of us can be like, wow, that's a lot of homes. But is it enough homes?
I don't know what the exact number should be. I don't have experience with.
Well, put it in this perspective, though. Like
that.
Again, like you've been looking for Scylla to live in, and there's 74 homes, as you said. That is through UCB segment, but there's also a lot of other people looking for homes too. So with that being said, do you think that is enough? Or do we need more, or do we need less?
I really can't answer that question because I personally don't know.
Yeah.
I haven't been, with UCP enough to, I don't work for them, so I don't have the experience in that to tell you whether, whether they need more or need less.
From my personal experience, there's a lot of people who are looking for these Scyllas to live in, whether they are, have a disability, whether they are just looking for some sort of community to support their living arrangements. And not a lot of people are blessed with the finances to be able to have one of these homes. And so, it requires you to go through a lot of loopholes to the government and get all that. And
state government.
Yeah, and we know how that state is.
Yeah, because once we get my house all set, fire marshal has to approve it, and then the state has to come out and actually take a look at the house as a whole to to make sure everything's up to code, and then it's safe, and that it's safe for not only not only me and the other three gentlemen that I'll be living with, but staff as well, because I'm not the only one living there. So
yeah, you don't get the house all to yourself.
No,
that's awesome.
No.
So what were some difficulties that you had before? I know that when we were talking, we hung out after we did our podcast, and we hung out. What it was some college football time or something.
Yes.
And you were talking about some difficulties we were having with the public, and is that something you want to talk about?
Sure. So this all started basically back in mid-September. There were, my parents bought the house, and the plus of buying a house is, for it to be a sale, is we get to choose where it is and who I live with. But in this case, we had to go through not one, not two, but 3 special use hearings. And this is gonna be my first time living alone. But at the same time, I understand there's gonna be questions of, but at the same time, I ask myself, why? Why did we have to do this?
Well, let's all right. So let's go into that. Like, what are the questions?
So, some of the questions were, when we got approval, once we bought the house, we had to talk to the city, the city offices, the mayor, Palis, and he mentioned, we had to go through these 3 public hearings so that the people were aware of, what was going on, and, what the main goal of this house being under this type of, type of care and type of agency what the whole idea was. And unfortunately, there was some major, some backlash from the public.
So there's backlash from the public for you and your 4 friends wanting to go live in your own house that you have the human rights to. And there are people who are upset about that in that community.
Yes, there were some people that were concerned.
Why?
What you know?
Because guys, Andrew, if you haven't known, is very, very dangerous. So Andrew is someone who we should be watching out for, because once he moves in your neighborhood, get ready. Of course.
No, but no.
Of course, I'm kidding,
folks. No, he's kidding. I'm a gentle soul, but no. So unfortunately, the public had some concerns. There were some people voiced their concerns. So there's them, and then there was the people who simply did not want us, or simply didn't want that house to be there, or simply didn't want us to be a part of their community. Why? I don't know.
Isn't that discrimination?
Yeah, it really is. And actually, I gotta check with my dad again, because within the city of Palos, there's a certain ordinance that says, a group home with 4 or more unknown person has to be classified for special use.
Yeah.
Why? I don't know. And my dad also mentioned that there's people in Palos that rent their house out to Trinity Christian College, and if you think about it, folks, those are 3 or 4 guys, girls, whatever it is, that are unknown. They're living there. They're basically paying rent to a person they don't know. So why is it that they get the brunt of the okay, but we don't? So right now, my dad's trying to have them change that ordinance as we speak. Also, the other issue was there were some people that simply did not want us to be there. I mean, I remember specifically one guy said, along with his what he said was his girlfriend, or I don't know. At this point, I'm just giving you a small detail about that.
Right.
But he was convinced 100% that this was a business. This shouldn't be here. This is not right. And the other people were like, I remember my neighbor that's going to be directly across the street from me, what she was convinced, I don't know why, but
you don't know what?
She was convinced, and I don't know why, but during the first hearing, she was convinced that, us, meaning the 4 of us, were going to be at risk of hurting her kids.
Hurting her kids?
Yes.
Huh. Man. Oh, man. So let's go back. So there's a hearing. You are moving into this neighborhood.
Yes.
People are upset by that. So therefore, they go to the hearing, and that, they say that this is a business, and that a business should not be, moved into our neighborhoods. And let's kind of give that credit there, that it is a business in a sense, but it's again
it's not a business. It's a non-for-profit
right. Sorry.
that's providing care to people in need.
Yeah.
I mean, that was the problem with these guys with I'll say the public, because at the end of the day, all 3 hearings were 100%. You're fine. You're gonna be fine.
Good.
So, but for all 3 of hearings from my neighbor that was kitty cornered to my house, from their perspective, it was like, this is wrong. This is not right. So,
and I mean,
it's unfortunate, but at the end of the day, we got it done.
Do you think that that is because that maybe people don't understand as much? Like you and I were pretty immersed into how amazing our community of people with disabilities are. We know that that we are a strong, beneficial community to society, and that we do wonderful things. Now, do you think that maybe those people had a lack of understanding? Like, they didn't get to know you. I mean, anybody who gets to know you, Andrew, is going to be like, wow, this guy's awesome, and he probably, and he chooses his friends wisely.
Yes. All 3 hearings, I'll admit, I was nervous myself.
Of course.
But at the end of the day, I think what they were confused on is, we're a business. We're a part of the community from a business standpoint. We're not a part of the neighborhood. When the truth of the matter is, we are, part of the neighborhood, as me and my 3 housemates, if you want to call it that, will be. And they've come to terms with that sense, but we're all just a part of the community.
What made them come to terms with that, do you think?
I besides the 2 people that were concerned, that one wanted no part of this. I think some of them needed to have a better understanding of what the organization was, what they do, and how they do it, and then the fact that we're not trying to bring a bunch of hoopla, to the neighborhood.
Yeah,
we're
hoopla, I love it.
we're bringing peace, we're bringing joy, we're bringing fun. So
my man, dude, that is what it's all about. What'd you say? We're bringing hoopla. We're bringing peace, love, and joy. That's all you need in life, right, man?
Yeah.
That's awesome, Andrew. What are you most excited about your house?
The fact that I'll be away from mom and dad. No, I'm only kidding. But no. Truth is,
I was too.
The fact that I'll be able to live independently and on my own and not have to rely on mom and dad to assist with my daily needs and get me out the door 5 days a week. And my dad and mom, and again, being from my dad, his experience with these people, they are a very good organization to be under, supports of. So
yeah.
And my dad runs a yearly scramble of golf, so that donates to this organization that gives back to the programs that are involved.
Yeah, I remember talking about that last time, and it was just a very considerable amount over a collective amount of years. It's very cool.
That number was actually overstated by me.
Oh,
point is, folks, we've raised a lot of lot of funds for UCP over 30, 37, 38 years.
Wonderful.
Of doing this. As far as, and my dad's run about, I don't know the exact number, but he's run a lot.
Yeah. And well, you know what? I think it's just a testament to how amazing it is to have, such great supports here at home, and people who, genuinely love you because you are the man. And, probably one of the coolest guys I've ever met, and probably one of the most curious guys I've ever met too, which is really cool. Now, with that, and I want to go back to the Scylla. What is something that maybe worries you about being away from home and just out of your normal routine here, trying to establish a routine at the home, at your future home?
It's gonna be probably the adjustment of one. Hey, this is not your normal bedroom, not your normal, not your bedroom, not your kitchen, not your living room. And the other part of it is, you're gonna live here for the rest of your life, if not married. So
yeah,
you're going to end up living here until you're, 70, 80 years old, until I die, basically.
Yeah.
And then thirdly is, walking in and out of the house, going, hey, that's not my front street. But, and if you wanted to add a fourth, it's going to be getting used to the staff, the support system within the Scylla, which, they're very good people from what I've been told. Very good support system. So, it's going to be a lot to get used to.
Well, what about, like this morning, you hold a lot of value in being Catholic
Or Lutheran.
Lutheran. I'm so sorry.
It's the same. It's the same. Don't worry about it.
And I like that about you, where you do have that, love and trust for the higher being. And now, what about when you want to go to your services and stuff like that, when it's a Sunday? Have you thought about any of that?
Well, there's the Pace bus.
Okay.
So there's that. I did check with them. They do service my house, and that's really a pain in the neck too sometimes.
100%.
Because the rule is, within the RTA, that
Regional Transportation
within
Authority.
the RTA and Pace and their Paratransit division is, my house has to be within 3/4 of a mile of a fixed route, which is kind of strange, because you're saying that if you're South Cook, which this is where I am and where I will still be, is if you're South Cook, you'd figure, okay, the Pace buses serve, the Paratransit Pace buses serve all of Cook County, right?
Yeah.
All of Southern Cook, all of Northern Cook, whatever you want to call it. No, that is not the case. Should it be, in my opinion? Yes. Or should they extend the boundary out just a little further? Yes. In my opinion, yes. But they don't. And as much as I want to go to one of their board meetings and tell them, I don't want to drive 5 minutes down the road to a medical park, they're not probably going to listen to me. But advocacy's there, right?
Yes, sir. And that's just about trying. And I want to kind of give a little, education to the listeners. And, we have options for people to get around their communities. And whether that's the straight up pace bus without a very fixed route, they're, going to be there within a window of, 10 minutes or whatever, just like your average bus. And all of them are, most of them are wheelchair accessible and all that good stuff. And then you have the Paratransit. And the Paratransit is it's a division of PACE, which is the local transportation. Yeah. And you got to give them a call
24 hours ahead.
24 hours ahead. And, Andrew, have you ridden the ADA Paratransit?
Yes, I have.
What were some, and again, I'm very blessed that the service is out there, but we know that it's not the most prompt and the most reliable. For example, you might be asking to go down to McDonald's, which is right down the street, but then they will take an alternate route that is way, will take about 25 extra minutes, and therefore, some of our friends with disabilities have a tough time getting to work on time because of this pace bus. And employers know that, and they're understanding, but not many are, and that Catholic, and that Lutheran Mass ain't going to wait for you.
You don't have to be literal.
But you know what I'm saying, though? Like, that Lutheran Mass is it's going to still start at 10 a.m., and, your bus might be scheduled to arrive at 9:50, but it actually arrives at 10:20.
At the church,
You know what I'm saying? Yeah, so that's just like a little bit of a tidbit on that, and also it's just another barrier of independence, but we're thankful it's there.
Yeah, we are thankful it's there, and when I was going to Moraine Valley, I would consistently
community college,
Moraine Valley Community College. Sorry,
that was after transition.
During while I was at transition.
Nice.
And partially after, I kept nagging Mom during the time that I was using a paratransit. I go, can I just use the fixed route? Because that service, folks, that's actually reliable. And I'm not talking down to the hour. I'm talking down to the minute.
Yeah.
Down to the minute. That's a service that is actually much better than the paratransit. I could give you situations where I was, I was going to school. My bus was due for, arrival to the medical park at 9 o'clock, and we waited, and my class was at 10. So okay, reasonable hour, so we waited until 9:50, 9:45. Never showed up, and called him a bunch of times, and eventually it did show up. But here's the thing, folks. This is how this service is bad in a way, because I showed up for my class 45 minutes late. Is it my fault? No. So I had to call my aide and tell them literally, you got to tell the instructor that this isn't my fault. I'm not deliberately trying to be late. And then there's a situation where I was coming home from Marine, and instead of going, because you'd figure Orland Park is probably, 10, 15 minutes from Marine. So instead of doing that, I go to West Chicago and don't get home until 5:45 that day. So those are two examples of how this service is bad.
Yeah. And yeah, and so I think drawing conclusions from those there is that, let's just take it from you going into the Scylla, and you already have your back up against the wall because you're just trying to live and you're just trying to be independent, and you're just trying
and
just
go to work.
Exactly, and go to work
And what if the staff, there's going to be a van, to transport me from place to place, but what if, the staff can't take me to work?
Yeah.
Then I have to have a backup plan in place, and that would be the Pace Bus. But again, if I was to use the Pace Bus, my boss or my supervisor is going to have to realize that, okay, Pace isn't that reliable when it comes to paratransit.
So you have your back up against the wall with a few situations here with, so some people who just don't fully understand what your intent is, to actually just, have the luxury and the privilege of, and you're right, actually, just to live on your own with that support. And number two, being able to show up to somewhere on time and just...
Oh, go ahead. Sorry.
And just hoping that you're possibly going to get there. So, I feel your frustration and all that, but one thing is that you put on such a good, a positive attitude about it. And I think that's something that, I take away from you every single day is that, I need to have a positive attitude and aspect about things. For example, if I'm driving and I'm running late or someone cuts me off or whatever, and it's like, what would Andrew do? He would keep smiling about it, and I truly mean that, man. So I really hope that some people can find inspiration from that, because it's frustrating. It's frustrating when things don't go out your way. It's frustrating when things don't just go as planned, and when you have these barriers around you that you can't control.
No. And life we can't control as a whole, but, we wish we can control, the fact that the Pace Bus needs to show up at its exact time, if not maybe a little bit later.
Yeah.
But we can't control those types of things.
Yeah, absolutely. So, that's great. And when do you plan on moving into your Scylla again?
So the original plan was actually going to be March. So it was actually supposed to be in a couple weeks. That was the original plan. But
March 1st right now.
Yeah. But due to the fact that, stuff was pushed back because the water main, I had to check that. Not electrical and gas was giving us issues, and so, but mainly because of the water issue, it got pushed back to. We're looking at mid-June, possibly.
Cool. Well, I'm excited for that, man. I'm excited for you, and
thank you.
Now I kind of want to move on to a little bit of the third area here, and which we did touch on last time in our podcast and all that. But since then you have started your podcast here, and just like a lot of people, you have dreams and aspirations, and you are really smart and you're really talented, but you got some barriers too that will impede you from becoming a graphic arts designer.
Yeah. Unfortunately, and this is the only time it's not because of the fact that, if I could have a full-time job with, salary involved, I'd be excited about it. But because of the fact that people with disabilities have to have are bounded to a limited income, and they can only make X amount of money. It's such a limit. The federal government is actually trying to, and I don't go into politics much, but
Same.
my dad was telling me that the federal government is trying to pass a law that says, you cannot your income cannot go up to as much as I think it was $10K for a cap without having to lose government benefits.
Yeah, and I can kind of give a little bit of perspective there. So Andrew, you're telling us about how that if you wanted to go out, first you are able to, be able to have money for your chair, for your services. I mean, just for, money for transportation in terms of getting around with ADA
and that comes through the state.
Right.
The money for my services, which will be in the Scylla, will come through, my Social Security.
Right.
And
so you're limited on that, and that's what's frustrating is that, you're just trying to be able to pay your daily needs and fulfill those through your Social Security. But let's say that you want to go ahead and work. Now you have to watch how much you're making, how much you're putting away, how much you're claiming and all that. And I think that's silly. I think that's just a very silly thing that is very tough to go ahead and go past because there's so many loopholes. And when I work with parents and people on their benefits and all that, they just don't know what to do or where to put their money in. Oh, wait, there's ABLE accounts, there's this and that. But all of a sudden, what if an air conditioner breaks down? How are we able to go ahead and build it?
Cover finances now with, utilities now. My dad was telling me, I got to cover utilities, electric, plumbing, if you please.
Yeah.
For my house. And, I guess it's to say I can have a job, but I can't work. One, I can't work salary. And two, I can't work full time because once again, otherwise, there goes the government.
Right.
If they see you're making over X amount of money, they're gonna start taking away your benefits, and it's just a really we're kind of we're unfortunately as a disabled society, and I speak for ones that are able to work. Unfortunately, we're in a bad rep, if you will.
Yeah.
Well,
no, I got you. I mean, and Andrew, I think that you would be you are a valuable asset to any company or anybody that would like to hire.
Thank you.
So, I think that's why I was really excited to talk to you about podcasting and, just to be able to get your word out of what you're passionate about. So I think, as we kind of get wrapped up here, what are some things that you are looking forward to with Wheeling and Dealing Sports? Which I love that title. So, dude, it's when we were brainstorming names, man. I'm like, we came up with a winner there. That was awesome. I think you came up with it.
Yeah, I did. So,
And talk about your dream first. You always wanted to be
So, the dream was I wanted to be a broadcaster. And, for those of you who don't know, there actually is a broadcaster in Chicago.
Jason Benetti.
That has...
You are listening. Hit us up, man. Hit us up.
That has cerebral palsy. Now, the difference is he's not in a wheelchair. Now, by me saying that, I'm certainly not judging.
Oh, yeah.
But he's able to walk. He works for ESPN too, so
yeah.
He's all over the place when when White Sox baseball is not around, because if the White Sox are on TV in Arizona, he'd be calling the game with Steve Stone. But the idea of Mike sort of knew about how I wanted to become a broadcaster when I was in high school, and when he and I reconnected, he mentioned this podcast, and he kept saying, you got a good voice for this, and you'd be perfect for this. And what am I to say that you're right?
Yeah.
I should be doing this. And I hope to be doing it as often as possible.
Yeah.
If if a job doesn't prohibit me from doing my packet. Because now that goes without saying, folks. I still want a job, but for the time being, that the podcast will kind of be my job until I were to get a actual working.
Yeah, and
job.
I hope you're able to really utilize this on your your free time and stuff like that, because I know that there's some downtime that can be occurring.
Yes.
And so I'm just really hoping that this is a positive outlet for you, man, because I'll be a listener.
Thank you.
I hope everyone else is out there as a listener. And I'm going to include some information here, because again, we're going to do his podcast right after this. And again, it's Wheeling and Dealing Sports.
Facebook, folks. I'm trying to get a Twitter together. I know someone who knows how to set up a Twitter account.
Yeah.
Now that goes without saying. I've been, a little lousy on, going on my Twitter and trying to figure things out for myself.
It's overwhelming, dude.
But
I tell you, because I'm on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, which I barely can figure out. My wife has to figure that out for me. There's just so many realms that you have to be on, and it's overwhelming. But I think you're off to a great start here, man.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
Well, guys, ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for sitting here with our journey, catching up here with my man Andrew Behrman. Any kind of little last thoughts or anything you want to share out?
Look forward to episode 1, Look forward to episode 1 of Wheeling and Dealing Sports, which is coming out later today, hopefully, of a preview of the Cubs and White Sox seasons. Also, we got a post examination of the Bears season.
Nice.
We also have a XFL review. And XFL future. We also have Blackhawks and Bulls updates.
Nice.
Looking forward to doing this, and thanks to Mike for giving me the jolt to kind of do this myself. And once again, I appreciate you having me on.
Absolutely. Well, thank you again. We appreciate it, and I look forward to talking to you again, my man. I'll see you.
Will do. Thank you.